So you're trying to figure out which one to buy, the Marantz SR7015 or the Denon AVR X6700H? I'm going to answer that question right after the jump. Today's video is brought to you by Dream Media Home Theater. If you're looking for projectors, screens, speakers, or anything for your home theater, including AV receivers like Denon and Marantz, definitely contact Dream Media Home Theater. With the new shipment of X3700, 4700, and 6700H, they've got the Denon that's right for your next upgrade. Click the link in the description, give them a call, ask for Techno Dad, and I'll get you squared away. And I'm back. What is up, Techno fam? Chana D, your Techno Dad here. And before I begin, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. You guys rock. If you want to directly help out the channel and you don't have time to watch my videos, make sure you click that link down in the description and become a patron today. All right, so when Sound United sent me the Marantz SR7015, they were also going to send me a Denon X6700H. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And this was back in like October of 2020. And back then there was all kinds of stuff happening. There was like that AKM DAC fire, and that's the DAC that they use in these AV receivers. So maybe that was some of the issue. Maybe it was the shipping issues. Maybe there was another production delay that we didn't know about. Bottom line is, those things were sold out for a long time. Now, I didn't get a Denon 6700H until Dream Media had them in stock, which was actually pretty recently. I'd say about a month ago. And coincidentally, they actually got a shipment in of X3700Hs and 4700Hs. So if you live in the US and you're thinking about an AVR upgrade, make sure to shoot me an email at my business email and I'll get you guys squared away. So why did I buy the Denon over the Marantz? Well, let's first start off with the similarities and differences of both units. As far as retail price is concerned, the Marantz comes in at $24.99, whereas the Denon comes in at $25.99. Now, since these AVRs are roughly the same price, I believe this is an apples to apples comparison. First is the fact that the Marantz will process 11 channels, but only power 9 channels. The Denon will process 13 channels, but only power 11. So with the Marantz, you will be limited to an 11-channel Dolby Atmos DTS-X and a 10.1 Oro 3D configuration with an external amp, of course. And with the Denon, you will have 13 channels of processing, so you can run 13-channel Dolby Atmos DTS-X and a 13.1 Oro setup. So that's definitely kind of cool. Of course, that is with an external amplifier. And you get DTS-X Pro with the 6700H. The Marantz has a 7.1 analog input, which is useful if you have something like an Oppo Blu-ray player, which has a 7.1 analog output. The Marantz is rated at 125 watts per channel, full bandwidth at 8 ohms with 2 channels driven, whereas the Denon is rated at 140 watts per channel, full bandwidth at 8 ohms with 2 channels driven. As far as design choices, the Marantz has the classic Marantz porthole design, which makes it super hard to read the front display. At 14 feet away, it is impossible to see. I'll have to turn on the info on screen or look at the app on my phone. However, the Denon front display is easily readable from my listening position. I've recently been going back and forth testing out Dolby Atmos and the difference between Oro 3D upmix, and it's great to just be able to look at the front of the unit and be like, okay, it's Atmos. Okay, what was I in? Atmos? Was it Oro upmixed? So I can just look at a glance without having to pick up the remote, without having to look and pick up and unlock my phone to see what's going on with the app, to see what, audio is happening with the receiver. With the Marantz, I couldn't do that. I had to pull the flap down, and then that kind of just adds more clutter in my mind. So if it's important to you to see what's happening on the screen at any moment in time, you might be leaning toward the Denon as opposed to the Marantz, unless you can handle the little flap being down and all the dust getting in there and all that kind of stuff. Okay, let's talk about sound quality. I'm sure you guys are going to ask, does the Marantz have that Marantz sound? And what's that, mean? And how is the Denon different? And honestly, I didn't really notice a whole lot of difference in the way both receivers sounded. And what I notice with AV receivers all the time is the room correction pretty much dictates the experience I'm going to get at my listening position. And since both of these AVRs have the exact same version of Odyssey, they kind of pretty much sound exactly the same to me. There might be a little bit of difference here and there, but overall, I don't think you're going to notice a difference. in that aspect. Now I know Marantz does have the HDAM, which stands for a Hyper Dynamic Amplifier Module. I use both AVRs with the Focal Aria 926, playing FLAC files off Oppo UDP 203, and there was no negligible difference even when I turned Odyssey off. Now I know people will say, but Marantz has that Marantz sound. And Audio Science Research did take measurements of both the Marantz and the Denon AV receivers, and it turned out that the Denon measured better than the Marantz. Like, there was slightly less distortion. So what is that Marantz sound? Is it that bit of distortion? Maybe a little bit of coloration? I don't know. That's for you guys to decide. Okay, so let's answer that question. Why did I buy the Denon? Pretty much because of its upgradability and versatility. Right now in my living room, I can run a 9-channel Atmos or 10-channel Oro setup. However, here in the studio, I can run like 16 channels. And since the Denon can do 13, well, I can put 13 channels in here, no problem. And if I move into a bigger space, which we're kind of planning on doing, well, then I could possibly go front wides in the living room. You know, if I still can't do surround back, it all depends, but I like to have those options. And since I have 2 power amps anyway, I will have the capability of running all 13 channels. Now I did run both AVRs in preamp mode and they both performed as expected. But if you're gonna run preamp mode, you're gonna need an external power amp for all channels that you wanna run. And since I run 2 5-channel Parasound amplifiers, well, then there you go. All my speakers are amplified. And in here, I have a little 16-channel by 50 watt. It's a pretty cool little box. So I can run 16 channels in here, externally amplified, no big deal. So all in all, if you're a Marantz lover and you wanna keep in that brand, then definitely check out the SR7015. It does pretty much everything a modern AV receiver can do, except for like that silly HDMI 2.1 mismatch thing. You know, that's still a problem. You know, you might have to get that little box. But other than that, it does everything that an AVR is supposed to do. So you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the way it looks. You're gonna love the way it sounds. And that's it. Now, if you're shopping around, definitely the Denon has more versatility and more options. So that's something to think about if you want to kind of keep the AVR, you know, long term and upgrade your space, or you're moving, or you're thinking about moving and you might have a bigger theater room or bigger living room. You have more options with the Denon because it's just a little bit more versatile. Now, if you guys have any questions about this, let me know down in the comments below or on social or email, whatever you like to use. And that's pretty much it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Me.